Hey everyone, so today is our last game and I decided as I'm getting ready I'm going to give you guys a tutorial on my game day makeup. So my game day makeup is my full glam days. For home games I do a little bit more. I'll do eyeliner and false lashes for home games. For away games I just like to keep it basic, I guess. We're just gonna give you guys a tutorial on my makeup because it's a lot. Every single product that I'll be using will in the description, and I'll be listing them in order that I'm applying them. But I already moisturized with the Cetaphil sunscreen, so you guys don't have to worry about that. But first thing is that we're gonna prime. I like to prime everywhere because on game days I wear foundation. I typically don't wear foundation on a normal day-to-day basis, but game days I just like to look my absolute best. Next step is a gripping primer. I like to put a pore filling primer first to make sure my pores are filled and my skin is as smooth as it possibly can be. And then I like to go in with a gripping primer right on top so my foundation, concealer, bronzer, everything has something to cling onto and stick to, so I know my makeup won't be moving everywhere. And then once again, I'll go everywhere with this primer, but focusing it a lot more around my nose and under my eye bags because makeup will tend to come off around my nose area. First thing we're gonna do are my brows. And I'm gonna use two products to fill in my brows. I use the E.L.F pomade gel brow thing. I don't know what the exact name is. I haven't used this in forever. I only started using it because I ran out of my LA Girl brow pencil. But this is in the shade Espresso / Darkest Black. That's how dark it is. I do have black hair, so it matches pretty well. So, and then my makeup brushes, honestly, they're all from all over. But my eyebrow brush, I can tell you where that's from. It is from Porefessional Angled Brow Brush EB1, if you guys are curious. But anyways, I'll just take some pomade onto the brush, and then using the cap, I'll just like flatten it. Like so. I'll draw a line under the bottom. Like that. Very light. And then I'll fill in the tail / the end. And then brush out the front. And that's how your brow should be looking like. We're going to do the exact same thing from this brow to this one. There's already a huge difference. But once our brows are both filled, we're going to go in with some brow gel. This is just Eco hair gel put into a small container. So if you guys are curious on what it was. And then we're going to carve them out. I'll use two different concealers for this. To conceal the top part of my brow, I'll be using the CoverGirl trueblend undercover concealer in the shade, I have no idea, but this shade. And then I'm going to be using the E.L.F camo concealer hydrating to do the bottom and to conceal over my face. And this is in the shade medium neutral. So we're going to start with the bottom. We're going to start with the bottom. We're going to use the lighter concealer, which is my E.L.F camo concealer. And we're literally just going to take the tiniest bit ever, about like that much, and just line at the bottom. Perfect. Now we're just going to use another brush and clean it up / blend it in a little bit. Okay. Now that the bottom is all cleaned up, we're going to go ahead and do the top with the darker concealer. I honestly have no idea what this shade could honestly be. So, because I don't use CoverGirl at all. This is like literally one of the only products I have from this brand, which is crazy. I feel like CoverGirl is really common. Like a really popular drugstore makeup brand. I'm kind of doing like paintbrush like strokes and just blending upwards because I don't want around my eyebrow to lose its coverage. Then I'm just gonna wet my beauty sponge with the Porefessional setting spray so I can blend in my brow concealer a little bit more. But foundation time. We are using the Fenty Pro Filter foundation. This is in the shade 310. This has literally been my shade since years, I think. But I'm not going to use a whole lot. But this is literally one of my favorite foundations ever. It's one of the foundations that actually match me. And then we're going to be using a Juno and Co sponge because they don't absorb liquid or foundation as fast as a normal beauty blender would. So we're just going to take some and just blend it all over. I try not to get it underneath my eye, like this area, only because I don't want my concealer to be creasy. And then I'll blend it into my hairline and my jawline and neck if I have to, just so it looks a lot better and it looks a lot more cleaner rather than it being like foundation then my neck. Just a tiny bit on my nose and then on my forehead as well, and then blending that into my hairline to make it look as much as my skin as possible. It looks like I didn't even put foundation on camera, at least. Like, I can't even tell. After our foundation is applied, we're gonna go in with the CoverGirl True Blend Concealer. This is in the shade Golden Caramel, and this is what I use as my bronzer, as my cream bronzer, cream contour, however you want to refer to it as. We're gonna use a brush just like this to blend it out. Blend this in with taps. And we're gonna start with where I first applied this because this dries really quickly and then it gets really stubborn to blend out. And I believe it already dried out. I don't recommend this concealer. If you're the type of person that likes to let their concealer sit a little bit before you blend it in, I don't recommend this one. It dries out so quickly before you even get the chance to blend it out. Like, now we are going to do concealer, which we're going to go back to the E.L.F. Camo Concealer, and this is literally the only place I conceal. And while that sits on our face, I'm actually going to contour my nose a little bit with the Shade and Light contour palette from Kat Von D. It's one of my favorite bronzing slash contour palettes ever. My boyfriend bought it for me, and we're just going to contour my nose, bringing it into my eyebrow area. And then underneath as well to make a button like nose. And then we're also gonna set my contour with the middle shade, which is the shade Shadow Play. Just tap it on the brush, tap off the excess, and just tap it into the places where I put cream contour. And then I like to bring it up to this area. And then my forehead. Okay. Now we're going to take out our powder. I used the Milk Blur and Set translucent powder to set my concealer and to bake around, but that's not until a little bit. We're just going to open it up, have her ready on the side. Then I like to use a little powder puff. I got these in a pack of 10 from Shein. But anyways, we're just going to use the same concealer, the same beauty blender that we used earlier, and we're just going to blend it out. And I like to look up and just go in gently, starting in with the inner corner and moving out. And then I like to drag it down a little bit and move it to the side just a little bit. So where we contour, there's like kind of like a place where we can put our bake afterwards. And then blend it out and upwards. And then how I set my under eye, I'll just tap into the powder about that much and then tap the excess on the back of my hand. Look up and just press it into my under eyes just to make it smoother as I can. And then we're gonna do the exact same thing onto the side. And then with the Access powder, set around my eyebrows for my concealer. And then now we're gonna bake right under my contour. Like so. Exact same thing onto the other side. And then my nose. You can kind of bake anywhere where your heart desires. Under my eyes. But as long as you remember where you put it, you're fine. And then we're going to use the Access to set around my lips to avoid as many smile lines as we can. They're bound to happen, but try to avoid them as best as you can. It's always a good strategy. Next, we're going to bronze up my face. We're going to use the Essence Matte Bronzing Powder in the shade Sunny 02. I've had this literally for years and it's broken, but it's one of my favorite bronzers ever. And we're just going to go in where we contoured. So my forehead. I like to look as bronzed as I can. My jawline. Okay, that is everywhere that I like to bronze. Next thing we're going to be doing is blush. Blush is my favorite part. We're using the Essential Bronze 10 color bronzer palette. There's honestly a lot of shade colors for my skin tone, so I like to use these. The top row is my go-to. However, today we're going to be using a mixture of these two at the end of the front of the top row. So I just like to mix them. Top off the Access. And I like to start from like the cheek of my bone, outside in. And then moving it all the way up here as well. And then I'm mixing them both to do the other side. And then I like to get my chin as well. And my forehead. Perfect. And then for my eyes, I'm going to use this little, I don't know what this is called. But I'm going to use this for under my eyes. We're going to use this little eyeliner brush and use this really light shade at the top. And just use that for my waterline. Now we can start wiping off my bake. Starting from where I put it first, which was underneath my contour. And then I like to just wipe it off in circular motions. And then on my nose, and then underneath my concealer. And then I'll reapply my blush just a little bit to fix the placement. And then I like to put some on my nose at the bottom, like so. Very pretty. And then we're gonna go back to this palette and use this gold shade right in the middle, I believe. And then use a little eyeshadow brush or highlighting brush. Put glitter in my inner corners just for a little pop. Because since for away games I don't do lashes or eyeliner. And then brow highlight. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of burnt orange in my lid. Just like the tiniest bit though. Like about that much. Just so my eyes aren't completely boring for the day. Now we're going to set the face. And we're going to use the Porefessional setting spray. Now we're going to do my concealer, and I'm using the Essence Lash Princess Concealer, the pink version. I don't know if that makes any difference. Just gonna apply. Anyways, this is the finished game day makeup look. I just put on some random lipstick. We typically wear our red lip essence lipstick, but it's still pretty early to put that on. So this is the finished look. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, definitely give this video a like and subscribe, and I shall see you guys in my next one. Mwah.